So tonight we are starting in supported fish. You'll want to grab a pillow, a couple pillows, prop yourself up just to get enough space between your chest area and the ground. So once you've got your props ready to go, you'll just come down to your back. I'm just going to start our timer there. Come down to your back. And then you can choose if you want your feet with your feet planted on the ground, or you can come into a reclined butterfly shape by opening up your knees. Totally up to you how much opening you want to do in your low back. If you're like, my hamstrings are crazy tight and I just need to get into this first pose, just plant your feet on the ground, point your knees up towards the sky, and then just come over your props. So you'll just want to play around with the positioning of it and see if you can have your head just drape over your pillow so that it's kind of unsupported but going towards your mat. And then with your arms, if you can, if this feels okay at first, goal post them and you'll be like, okay, my forearm is nowhere near the mat right now. The weight of the opening that's going to happen while we're laying here, just to ground our practice, you'll start to get closer and closer to the earth. So bear with me. If this feels really uncomfortable, you do not have to do it. You can bring your hands to your belly, bring your hands to your side, whatever feels good to you tonight. You pick how you want to open your practice. But once you found your shape, close your eyes. Try to not fidget too much. And just start to bring your awareness to your yoga mats, to the opening that's already happening in your body as we ease into our practice tonight. And anything that happened earlier today, just leave it behind. If you're like me, your day didn't start out so great. I woke up and I was just not in a good mood. And I had one of those days where, like, typically if I'm not in a good mood, I like shake it off and whatever, but I just felt like couldn't shake it, and it carried through for a lot of my day. And instead of trying to beat myself up about that, which I did, like I still did it, and I knew I was doing it, but I just tried to accept the fact that I was cranky and it was a bad day, and that's okay. And I think so often we try to race through that feeling bad, right? That, oh, I need to feel good, or I shouldn't feel like this, so I'm not going to. And that's when we start to suppress and distort stuff in our hips or our shoulders and create more issues for ourselves long term, because we're not actually dealing with the emotion or feeling the thing. We're just like, well, I shouldn't feel like this, so I'm just gonna not feel like that. You still feel like that and you still don't deal with the thing, or again, that emotion that you're feeling. So just accepting that you're having a crummy time is totally cool. You might be super anxious or just have a lot of stress, or be dealing with something unusual in your day or your life or whatever, and that will happen. And again, instead of just shoving it down and saying like it's fine, just dealing with it, letting it go through you, processing the emotions, talking it out, doing the good things that you should be doing, taking yoga, doing other self-care things to help you process stuff, just helps you not get to that place where you're just storing and suppressing and letting it fester. So it was a good lesson to myself today. It was a good reminder to myself to be kind and to give myself grace when I'm, don't have it all together. And I think, so often we all pretend like we do, and most of us don't. So just allow yourself to have those bad days or bad moments or whatever. And then when they pass through, you can release and let them go instead of, holding on. So as we practice tonight, just imagining that you're releasing, you're allowing those feelings to come up. You can practice those thoughts that you've been festering about, let them come up, acknowledge their existence, and then breathe them out. Just help you move through them to complete that full cycle of that emotion or that full stress cycle, whatever, however you want to identify with it. And then just letting it go. Actually letting it go, because again, you're not storing it, you're letting it move through you. Your whole week could be thrown off by just a slight change in your schedule or routine, and that could, change a lot. My husband started a new job this week, which has been awesome. I'm so happy for him. And we've had to totally shift our schedule. And I'm doing bedtime with the kiddo, and I feel sad because, Monday and Tuesday, my husband missed putting our son down by like maybe a couple minutes or 10 minutes or so, because when he's ready for bed, he's definitely ready for bed. But tonight it was so great because Will just kept wanting to read books and be distracting, and I let him do it because I was hopeful that Jeff would make it home, and he did, and it was just really nice that they got that time to say goodnight and got to put him to bed tonight too. So I'm grateful for that tonight, that happened, and we got that time together, even if it was just for a few minutes. So thinking of those small moments of gratitude throughout your day, maybe there's something that, overall things might happen or not feel so great, but maybe you can find those small glimmers of things to be super grateful for. So take a moment now to think of something in your day today, even if it's just, a hot mug of tea or coffee that you enjoyed this morning or afternoon, or, this yoga class, or just something that you have gratitude over, for being thankful for, to have in your life, or that, a good moment that you had in your day. Just breathe that in here. And then exhale, release it out. Your next inhale, just allow your belly to fully expand all the way out, like you're blowing up a big balloon. Hold at the top. And then exhale, slowly release it all out. Imagine that your belly button can touch your spine. Hold empty at the bottom. And then fill back up. Take one more round of breath on your time, setting just an intention or something that you want for your practice tonight. And when you're ready, just slowly move off of your props. Just roll to one side or the other, just move them out of your way. And then before we move on, we're just gonna roll back onto our backs. You can come out to a big star or pentacle-like shape. Close your eyes just for a brief moment. Feel the expansive space that you've already started to create in your body. The undoing of your day, unwinding. And slowly on your next inhale, start to bring your knees in towards your chest. And just rock slightly from side to side, loosening up your low back. And when you're ready, we're just gonna come up to a seated position on your mat. So taking your time to get there. Spent some time on our back, so don't rush getting up. And you'll want to grab onto your props. We are going to take a seated forward fold. So your choice, if you want to do a wide-legged seated forward fold, you certainly can do that. I'm going to just extend my legs out in front of me for this variation, but you certainly can take whatever you want. And then you'll want to
position your props any way that is going to help you get into this. So again, you all know your body's best. Place as many props as you need. And then just shimmy your sit bones so that your axis flesh is out of the way so that your sit bones can really ground onto the ground. Inhale, take your arms up, your gaze up, really reach the sky. And when you feel like you can't reach anymore, just see if you can lift out of your rib cage just a little bit, creating that length there. And then slowly start to tip forward, reaching towards the front of your space. And when you really feel like your spine has completely rounded and you can't reach forward anymore, just allow yourself to hang heavy over your props here. So closing your eyes, deepening your breath, bringing your awareness to your breath, allowing yourself to really fold forward to get the full benefits out of allowing your back and your hamstrings to fully start to open, creating that space within your body, but also giving yourself a little bit of a reset, a chance to change your perspective, seeing if you, on every exhale, can try to bring your chest closer to your thighs. So just imagine that for a moment, that on every exhale, you're just inching a little bit closer to your thighs. And I don't think any of us can probably get to that point unless you're super flexy, which, hey, that's awesome. Or if you have a growing belly like me, it might get there really soon. But for most of us, our chest and belly are nowhere near our thigh area. But just imagine that you can get there. So allowing yourself to really hang heavy, allow your neck to hang heavy here. So your head can try to drop a little bit below your heart. Allowing that stretch to really happen in the hamstring area, below back. Your mind has already started to wander onto other things, just see if you can gently guide it back. Bring your attention to your breath. Are you breathing? Have you paid attention to that at all? Do you even recognize that your body is doing that for you and you don't really have to be mindful about it, but can you just pay attention to your inhales and exhales? And if your belly is allowed to fully expand out on your inhales, and then releasing all that air in your exhale. Take a deep breath in. Full open mouth, sigh out, let it go. On your next inhale, start to slowly come out. Just lifting up one vertebrae at a time, really taking your time to come out of this. Moving your props out of your way. And then just bend your knees, bring your hands behind your low back, and just windshield wiper your knees from side to side just to loosen up your low back. And when you're ready, make your way to a tabletop position. And we are going to come down to a child's pose. So toe tips to touch, knees out wide. Sink your glutes down to your heels, and then just start to crawl your fingertips out towards the top of your mat. And place your forehead down on either your mat or a prop if you need, a book or a pillow, rolled up blanket, whatever you've got nearby. And just sigh it out, just big exhale, just let it go. Allow yourself to really melt into your mat. Feel the grounding that this child's pose provides to you. So you're feeling a lot of anxiety or just worrying about a lot of stuff. Child's pose is really great if you place your forehead down on something. So that's why I always call attention to either bringing it down to the mat or a prop, because that little bit of pressure that happens in the middle of your forehead is actually a really good calming, self-calming technique. It's really grounding. It helps kind of reset things for us. So that's why child's pose is a lot of people's favorite, not only because, it's a great resting pose, but you're also getting the added benefits of just that extra, you just feel like you're sighing out, like, just, this feels so good. You also get a really great low back stretch. You feel it in your hip area. And then upper body too. Your lats get a nice stretch in child's pose. So it's just a good pose all around for a lot of reasons. Just breathe in here, and on every exhale, just imagine that you can just roll things off a little bit easier. So rolling your shoulders down your back, releasing any tension that you're holding on to in your face. So if you're clenching your jaw, or just holding on to any tension in your eyebrow area, like the middle of your forehead where we're touching down on something right now. Just really allowing yourself to enjoy the benefits of this child's pose. Remembering to breathe and to use your breath here. Take one more deep breath in. Big open mouth, sigh out, let something go. Your next inhale, start to crawl your fingertips back towards your chest, just so you can come out of this. And you might want to sway your hips from side to side just to loosen up your low back.
And when you're ready, we are going to thread the needle on the right hand side. So you're going to place your weight into your left palm. And you can stay in this tabletop position with your legs, or if you want to come back down to child's pose for this, you certainly can. On your next inhale, lift your right palm up to the sky. Take your gaze up with you. And then start to flip your palm up towards the sky by threading it through towards the left-hand side and coming down onto your right shoulder. And you can tell right away that your left hip is likely a lot higher up than your right. So just see if you can nudge your hips back so that they're evenly. So if you placed a glass of water on your low back here, it should be able to stay up without falling over. So just thinking of that visual with your hips, just bringing them back. And then you can take your, you can leave your left palm there, or you can extend it up towards the top of your mat just to kind of get into that right shoulder just a little bit more. So it's really your choice on positioning and what feels good in your body. And again, if you're like, it's a lot to be on my knees, or you're wanting a different position for your low body, you can come back into the child's pose legs just to give yourself a little bit more space or take some pressure off of your knees here. So close your eyes if you haven't done so already. And you should start to feel the opening that's happening in your right shoulder. So this is a good compression pose to help undo some of the hunched over posture that we all are guilty of throughout the day, especially if you're working a desk job or sitting on the couch more or whatever. A lot of us disengage our core and hunch over to reach your keyboard or scroll on our phone. And then it just causes a lot of issues with our upper body and holding tension there. So this just helps us undo some of that and start creating that expansive space in our chest area. And in my yoga teacher training, they talked a lot about the chakras of yoga, so the different centers of in the body. And the heart center, they say that, you know, if you are hunched over all the time, that you're more closed off. And when you have that closed off posture, you're not willing to be open and to accept like that really good energy or that good stuff to come your way. And that people also tend to stay away from you a little bit more because, you know, you're closed off and you don't seem like you're open and you're positive and welcoming. And wow, that's probably a good thing in the pandemic because we don't want a bunch of people that come up to us right now. It can, you know, just you can have a totally different vibe without even really realizing it. And it's just because of the way that you're carrying tension in your upper body. And it also, you know, when you have more of an expansive chest space, it actually creates more confidence in the body too. So that's why like star pose is a really good confidence booster. Any back bend pose are really good to build confidence. So highly recommend if you have to do a big presentation or have a big interview or whatever to bust out one of those back bend type shapes. Before you get to the interview though, because that would be a little bit weird if you just busted that out in the middle of an interview, but you know, when you're getting ready in the morning or prepping for your presentation or whatever, it's just a really great tool to create that positive energy in your body. So there is something to be said about your posture and just what kind of confidence you put out and how you portray yourself and all that good stuff. So even if you're stuck behind Zoom or Slack or Teams or whatever connection to your workplace that you have all day, even just sitting up with a little bit more open posture just is more inviting and welcoming for your space, and also elevate your mood and all that other good stuff. So just a friendly reminder and a good tip for carrying yourself throughout the day, and why these types of postures are really important to do every once in a while. So take one more breath here. And then on your exhale, start to slide your left palm in towards your face if you extended it towards the top of your mat. Place your weight into your left palm and then come out of this. Extend your right palm up to the sky where it was before, and then just take some arm circles in one direction. And then we'll take it in the opposite direction just to create some space in the body there. Bring some blood flow back to that side. And then we'll just swap it out to the other side. So coming back to that tabletop position, placing the weight in your right palm. Inhale, take your gaze up, your left palm up to the sky. And then bring it through for thread the needle on this side, coming down onto your left shoulder now. And then again, your choice on leg placement. If it's more comfortable for you to come down to child's pose legs, you can certainly do that, but bringing the left side of your face down to the mat, closing your eyes, just really coming down into this, and then you can extend your right palm up towards the top of the mat if that feels good for you. And each side feels different, so just breathe into that here.
Take a deep breath in. Full open mouth, sigh out. Let it go. When you're ready, start to slide your right palm in towards your face. Press your weight onto your right palm. And then inhale, lift your left palm up to the sky. And then we'll take some arm circles in one direction. And then the other way, and just to loosen that up. And when you're ready, we are going to take a hip opener. So your choice here, I'm going to take pigeon, and I'll demo you through that. But if you want to take frog or pigeon on your back or whatever is your jam tonight, you certainly can take that. If you want to get into pigeon, you'll just come to that tabletop position, start to slide your right knee in towards your right wrist, grab onto your right ankle, try to bring it as parallel as you can to the top of your mat, which none of us really can get it super parallel, but you'll point your right toes and then extend your left leg back behind you. Take a quick pause to check over one shoulder or the other just to square your hips. Inhale, take your gaze up. And then exhale, you can start to crawl yourself down to put your pigeon to sleep. This is where props come in handy. I'm definitely gonna grab some to prop myself up. You can lay on pillows, you can stuff a block or roll up a blanket or another yoga mat to place underneath your right hip, just so you don't dump down into your hip area. And you can come down to any position that feels good for you. So again, each week is gonna feel different. You're gonna need something different each week. You might feel very open right now and like, yeah, I don't need props this week and I can totally get into this. Or you might be like, yep, not feeling this week. I need to back off a bit. So listen to your body. When it tells you something, it's sending you a signal. It's saying, hey, please pay attention to this. So pay attention. Obviously, hip openers are a little uncomfortable for a lot of us. So it should feel slightly uncomfortable, but again, never painful. So if you've got pain in your knee, pain in your hip, use a prop, come off of it, find a new position. Again, you know your body best, listen to what it's telling you to do. And once you have found your shape that you feel, good enough about being in a hip opener, try to relax as much as you can. So don't create more tension in your body to get into this pose either. So you might need some props for your upper body so you're not straining yourself to hold yourself up in this pose and all that fun stuff. And then try not to fidget. So once you've found a posture that works for you, try to stay still. Close your eyes, connect to your breath. Remind yourself we won't be in this posture forever. As much as it might seem that way, when I have you hold something that's a little bit more challenging, that you're like, when the heck are we getting out of this? I want out now. That is just your mind trying to get you to not open up and release. So it's almost like a coping mechanism, like your body is getting defensive, like, oh no, I'm gonna have to, deal with my emotions now, or oh no, I'm gonna have to release this thing. Instead of fighting it, lean into it, breathe into it, allow it to be uncomfortable and say, nope, I'm creating space in my body and I'm allowing things that I no longer need to carry to release, and I'm making space for some really good energy, some good vibes. And you can let whatever feeling or whatever thought come up, and then you can let it go. So you might be like, wow, I didn't realize I was so angry about this thing, or I didn't realize that this bothered me so much, or it was such a weird experience that I had today. But you can feel those things and say,
huh, that actually stuck with me longer than I thought. And just acknowledge that. It's good to do that, right? It's good to say, huh, that stuck with me longer than I thought it would. Because then you have more awareness that that's happening, right? Instead of just pushing it off and saying, it's no big deal. Clearly, big deal. And that's cool. That's good. It's good to start being in tune with that and noticing those things. Just use your breath here. Your next inhale, when you're ready, if you're going to be ready to move and get out of this, start to slowly make your way out. And it might take you a while, like it's going to take me to get out of this thing. So just coming out of this as gracefully as you can. And again, you're in your own space. So if you need to fly out of this, you do that. Come back to tabletop. If you're on your back, you can stay there and just sway your knees from side to side. Just taking any movements here that would feel good for you to loosen up your low back, to bring some blood flow back to the side. So you might want to extend your right leg back, placing pressure on your toes to get a good stretch in the back side of your leg. And you can get ready for it. We're gonna switch it out to the other side because you gotta stay even, right? So if you are taking traditional pigeon, coming back to that tabletop position, slide your left knee in towards your left wrist, grab onto your left ankle, extend your right leg long behind you. And then again, taking a step to just peek over either shoulders to square your hips down to the ground. Finding any props that you might need. I'm gonna use a block underneath my left hip here. And then on your next exhale, bring yourself down to a cozy shape. Put your pigeon to sleep. So folding over your props, closing your eyes, trying not to fidget once you find your space. Feeling this side is so different than the right side. We carry our stress and tension differently, and then our anatomy, we're not totally symmetrical on both sides. So you're gonna notice some differences in how you feel. So just allow yourself to take any extra props or adjustments that you need. If you feel stuck, and not just stuck in this position, but just stuck on something, if your brain is you're just spinning and thinking or overthinking, as we all tend to do on something, some topic, just pay attention to what that is, right? So it's like, oh, I'm laying here and I'm thinking about something that happened at work today. And you can ask yourself, well, why? Like, why am I thinking about the thing? Or, why am I expending energy on something that has in the past? Or maybe something you have to address tomorrow that's going to be not a fun conversation that you have to have. Why obsess over the future, right? Or why worry about the past? It's like, here right now, you're on your mat. You're allowing yourself to open up and do something really awesome for your body, for your mind, and just a really good reset for yourself overall. And I think that often we, instead of being here and being in the moment and just being like, wow, I am so grateful that I, decided to sign up and log into yoga tonight, to do this self-care thing for myself. We tend to rush through it or think about other stuff and not really be here doing yoga. So I'm totally guilty of this. I do the same thing. And you're like, oh wow, the whole class went by, and instead of being here in the moment, I was, thinking about either past stuff or stuff that may never happen or is not going to happen the way you think it's going to happen. So just try to remind yourself, like, hey, I'm in yoga, and hey, I'm doing some awesome stuff for myself right now. And it's okay to let your mind wander, of course, but just really trying to be present as much as possible. Getting the most benefits out of your class, not just for your body, but also for your mind. And when you're ready and your time, we're going to start to come out of this pose. So just bringing yourself out, taking your time to come out, moving your props off to the side here. And coming back to the tabletop position, if that feels good to you, swaying hips from side to side. And then you can always extend your left leg long behind you if you want, pressing weight into your toes, getting that good stretch in the back side of your leg. And then when you're ready, coming down to your spine, so taking your time to come all the way down to your back. I am going to prop myself up so I'm not laying flat on my back like I'm not supposed to. But if you're comfortable with being all the way on your back, please come onto your spine and just bringing your feet onto the mat so your knees should be bent and pointing towards the ceiling. And then when you're ready, tee out your arms, bring your knees in towards your chest. And on your next exhale, start to bring your knees over towards the left-hand side of your mat for a supine twist. So you might find that you want a block or a pillow or blanket or whatever to help underneath your left knee or perhaps between your knees, just to help with like your low back. If you've got an achy low back, sometimes putting something between your knees. I sleep with a pillow between my knees every night just to help my low back. So putting a block there right now might feel really good to help with opening, but not doing anything extreme. You can always place something like right behind you just to feel that support. Whatever is going to feel good for you to be in this twist, find your props. And then you can come off of the twist as much as you need. So if you're like, oh, it's a little intense, I don't want to be quite that twisted, you can come off of that. And then with your arms, you'll just keep them in the T position and make sure that your upper body, see if you can expand your chest so that your shoulder blades are evenly on the mat. And then bring your gaze over towards your right fingertips and then close your eyes once you've made your way to that side. So just getting the full twist here. Your neck will be able to twist in the opposite direction of your knees. So it's just that full spinal twist that you get, full bringing out of your body, being in this shape. And just allowing yourself to release, let go. Not having to think too much about it, but just all that good stuff you're doing for your body here in this twist. It's a good massage of sorts for your inner organs. We're not hanging out and twist too often throughout our day, or if we just like twist to get something or whatever, you don't hold it for as long as we do in our restorative practice. So it just really allows yourself to get into a shape that you don't typically find yourself in, so that again you can create that space, lengthen your body out, get all the benefits of your restorative practice, and bringing your awareness and attention back to your breathing. So just really start to slow your breathing down, and if you haven't been paying attention to it tonight throughout class, it's totally fine. It's really easy to get distracted and to not pay attention, but just try for the next couple minutes here to just tune into your breath, seeing if you can slow it down, allowing yourself to just really rest here to get the full benefits out of this. On your next inhale, you bring your knees back in towards center, and just grab onto your knees and just sway from side to side just to loosen up your low back. And then when you're ready, we are going to take that on the other side. So bring your knees back up into that tabletop position, teeing out your arms, and then just bring your knees over towards the right-hand side of your mat. Again, finding a shape that feels good for you, finding props, readjusting props if you need. Being mindful of your shoulder blade, seeing if you can shimmy your left shoulder blade so that they're both equally on the mat, and then just take your gaze over towards your left fingertips and then close your eyes once you're there. Again, just finding a shape that's going to feel good to you tonight, and each side is different, so taking what you need here. Again, spend some time focusing on your breathing. You can always bring a hand to your belly just to pay attention to see if you're actually breathing with your belly or not. Take a deep breath in. Full open mouth, sigh out. So let something go. When you're ready, bring your knees in, back towards center. And then you can sway from side to side if you want. You can always take a happy baby here, grabbing onto the outer edges of your feet, swaying from side to side. Whatever feels good to you. And then when you're ready, finding your final resting shape, your Shavasana. So you can extend out here. You can come to a wall nearby if you've got that available to you to do legs up the wall. Whatever feels good to you tonight, and it's going to feel different each time you practice. So coming to a shape that is going to feel good to you. And when you are all stretched out or have your legs up the wall, just do a quick body scan before you officially start resting. So seeing if you're holding on to any tension, starting with the crown of your head. So just moving down to your forehead, seeing if you can release any tension there. Coming down to your jaw, seeing if you can relax your jaw a little bit. Allowing your tongue to move from the roof of your mouth. Coming down to your shoulders, seeing if you can move them an inch or two away from your ears. So just allowing your shoulders to roll down your back. Then to bring your awareness to your palms and just see if you can release some tension there. Bring your awareness to your belly, allowing yourself to fully expand out in your breath in, and then releasing all that air out. Paying attention to your low back, seeing if you need to adjust your legs at all to help your low back open. So you could shove some hooks or blocks or pillows underneath your knees just to help that opening to happen in a more gentle way. And then to your feet, if you could just allow your toes to fall heavy to either side. And once you have assessed any additional areas of tension, just take a few moments here to fully rest and enjoy your time in Shavasana.
Shavasana is here as long as you need. Continue to rest. If you have additional time, staying in Shavasana is such a great way to close your practice. You can ignore my voice and I will close Zoom as soon as I'm done walking you through it, and you can continue to rest in your space. But if you want to reawaken just enough to get yourself ready for bed, start to bring some awareness and attention to your body by slightly wiggling your fingers and your toes. And then you can just roll from to either side for a brief step in fetal pose. So just hanging there for a moment, closing your eyes, and then very slowly start to come to a seated position on your mat. Bringing your hands to heart center and closing your eyes if you haven't done so already. Take a deep breath in. Full open mouth, sigh out, let something go. Breathe in something awesome, something amazing that you still need for your week. Breathe out something you don't. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you have a lovely evening, sleep well, and enjoy the rest of your week. Namaste.